Welcome to the Couple to Couple League PeakDay podcast, where we discuss fertility and natural family planning with our friends. I'm your co host, Martha Haney.
I'm your co host, Alejandra Martinez.
Today's guest is Daniela Alba. Daniela teaches natural family planning in Spanish with her husband, Martin, and she is a natural family planning coach in Spanish for Couple to Couple League and Fertility Science Institute. She's also a regional parish rep for Couple to Couple League, and she serves several states, including Arizona and California and Florida. So, welcome, Daniela. Thank you so much for
Thank
being our
you.
guest.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
What is it that you like the best about working with couples and individuals and teaching them natural family planning?
I think what was my biggest trigger to teach is I learned when I was taking my classes that there aren't a lot of teachers locally. In my situation, in my case, there weren't a lot of teachers. We had to travel about a little over an hour to take our classes. And while we were taking our classes, I thought I knew my body, but when I took this course, it was just, my mind just kind of, really, like, this is so much information I did not know about myself. I just learned so much, and I thought, I my drive was, I have to get this information out to as many people as possible, to as many couples as possible. I want to make sure that they know the truth. I want to do whatever I could do, whatever's in my hands, so they are filled with truth and not lies, which is what the world is, feeding us. I fell in love with the information, and my husband and I, we, like, no doubt, we said we really need to teach this, especially because we were working closely with youth, and in our youth ministry, we focused a lot on, it was called El Verdadero Amor Espera, which translates to True Love Waits. And it's kind of like preparing youth for marriage, and telling them the importance of, why Jesus and does the way he does things, and why he left us these rules to live by. And it's just for our safety, and because he loves us, and because he wants the best for us. And so it was really tied to um, having a good marriage. And we talked about having a good friend relationship, having a good boyfriend and girlfriend relationship according to God's rules. And so we have so many kids or young adults that we work with. We thought, this is, they don't know. A lot of them, they don't know. And we could teach them while they're young and get them before they're even en route to marriage. So it was a blessing, just learning what we learned, thinking we knew a lot, and realizing we knew this much. So we were just called, and we had no doubt this is what we want to do.
Daniela, how the world of NFP has evolved since you just started teaching?
I learned through my paper charts, and now in Spanish we are teaching through the app, and I find that so much easier for teachers and for students. So I think the biggest change that we've had since I started teaching is adding technology into NFP, which has been a blessing because now we are able to teach nationwide. I just love how we are able to connect with the students. I mean, I've had classes where I have people from coast to coast, and it's wonderful to see that. It's just, really, where I could have been in my parish 15 minutes from my home with just the locals. Now I could have people from all over the nation, and that's just wonderful, and I hope we keep growing in that way.
You
Th-
have been a part of the PeakDay app development since the beginnings.
yes, yes.
We wanted to ask you, what is the biggest improvement we
Yeah, it's been such an honor to be part of this team. To say, wow, we are together with all of the couple to couple staff. We're creating this wonderful app. And we have been working so hard. Everyone's just working so hard, keeping everyone's ideas in mind and suggestions and what, could work, what may not work. And I think the biggest thing that we love is just the image, just the way it looks and the way it works, of course. But it's beautiful. The colors are beautiful. It's really nice, really nice colors to look at, and it works so smoothly. And I was a little like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose my information, and this has worked good. Why are we changing it? And now that we are towards the end of our goal and I see what we've done and what we've created, and it's working perfectly. And it's actually more simpler than our previous app, Cycle Pro Go. It is a little easier to manage. Just visually, there's a lot of more pictures, in a way, a lot less words. So I think that is going to make it very easy for us to teach and for our students to understand. But just the biggest thing that I love about it to this point is, of course, the way it works, but also the way it looks. It's just so fresh. It's fresh, it's new, it's very organic. The colors are just beautiful to look at. Yeah.
Can you tell us some of the Peak Day app features that that are the most significant, maybe in comparison, between Cycle Pro Go and Peak Day, maybe for a new user?
We have little icons on top, which will, you just kind of navigate. You click on each icon to say, well, I want to log today. I want to log in emotions. I felt this way. I want to log that in, and just kind of click on that button, and it takes it to the emotions section, and it's just click, click, and you're basically done. I know it's like Cycle Pro Go, it had a little more clicks to go through before you were able to get to that section. But now it's a lot easier to just navigate wherever you want to go to. So there's a lot of on those icons on the top that I love. You're able to sort it and put in whatever you want it to put in to appear each day. So if you just, well, I just want my mucus, my temperature, and menstruation. That's it. I don't want any more buttons there. You could do that. Or if you say, I am under medication, or I am, my emotions are up and down, or there's other registrations that are included in there, we could just add those on or remove them as we please. So that's really nice to have on the app. But if you want to go basic, you could just put in your 3 basic buttons and start registering. And I would really recommend that for our first time users, just so you're not overwhelmed with so much. And as you go, you will get familiar with it. But for our first time users, I'd recommend, just leave your menstruation, temperature, and mucus, which is the primary things we need as you are learning the method and as you're learning to navigate the app. But it's really easy to register all of your whatever you need to register, your temperature, your mucus, menstruation, go back and forth, you edit, and it's very straightforward, very straightforward. The fact that our app comes from scientific background, and years and years and years of knowledge and experience, that to me is the biggest standout from all these other apps. We have doctors that have guided us, doctors that are part of. We have a lot of scientific information. We have history of so many charts that have helped us, know this is what women need. This is, crucial. We can't remove this. We have to have this because of 50 years of history that back us up. So definitely the app that we are currently working on and Cycle Pro Go has been backed up by 50 years of knowledge, 50 years of scientific information, all these numbers that we have worked with. But definitely, I think our app is very conservative, and the chances of the app helping you follow your plan, whether it's postponing, whether it's planning a pregnancy, it's very high, very, very high because of what we are backed up with. 50 years is a lot of years of knowledge and working with these type of charts, whether it was paper chart, but we have all that to back us up, and we have brought that to the app, and that's what a lot of people don't have. I mean,
Daniela, as a coach, how do you think the new app is going to help you in your sessions with your clients?
there's a very easy way to share your charts with your coach or your doctor or nurse practitioner. So the fact that we're going to have this, I think it's really going to impact the type of care and the type of attention we could put into each student, because it is very easy to now have the student's chart in our phone, in our hands as a coach. Just look at it, versus right now we have to have permission to look at it from our students, and we have to ask, can I look at it? Can we meet? Do you have time to video? So there's more logistics involved. Whereas with PeakDay, you just, go to your section, you hit share, you share with Alejandra, and Alejandra has your chart now, and she will be able to tell you, oh, well, hey, well, you're not on phase 3 because you have not been taking your temperature, for example, or because you're missing mucus here, or whatever the situation would be. But that's really exciting. I think we're going to be able to provide more constant contact with our students versus waiting for, well, can I look at your chart? Do I have your permission? I looked at it. Are you looking at it? No, I'm not looking at it. So with this PeakDay, with what they've done, it's now I could share my chart with anybody. They could look at it and give me feedback right away. So it's going to be a big help for us as coaches and for our students. Whatever their plan is, whatever the situation is, it's going to be more direct contact with them, and that's wonderful.
And then being able to, look at charts together and talk about charts. How do you think that will impact helping women who might have a possible medical condition?
Something that's just wonderful for us as coaches is we have been able to see certain medical conditions on women's charts. And of course, we're not doctors, so we're not diagnosing anything, but we say, according to your chart, you might have something might not be okay. You might be dealing with such condition. Why don't you talk to your doctor about it? And I think getting that information to them, letting them know, the students, the faster we're able to detect that, the better it is for them, because they could get on board on receiving the help that they may need, the medical help that they may need, versus, well, no one's looking at my chart. I don't have any questions. So be it. We'll keep doing what we need to do, And now we'll have easier access to that and faster access to that, which benefits the students. And that we will be able to let them know. I mean, I know we've caught a lot of situations through Cycle Pro Go where we're looking at a chart as a team, and we're like, this doesn't seem right to us. This looks like, PCOS, or whatever the situation could be. And that's we turn around and say, hey, we've looked at your chart, and you might be dealing with this. Talk to your doctor, and get diagnosed and make sure this is it. So it's going to be a lot of help, because I as a team, when we have a doubt on a chart, we work as a team. We all come together and get all of our thoughts together, everyone's experience, and say, can you guys look at this one? This one looks a little different. What are your suggestions, or what are your thoughts on someone's chart? And I just love how students come to us, and ask for help. It's like, what they say in elementary schools, right? You have a question, raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm never going to know you're not understanding. So a lot of our students are not coming to us. So I would invite them, just come to us, because we will take our time. We will give you our time, and it is important. It's not, well, the next chart, the next cycle will be better. We don't know that. And it's better for you to know now versus waiting 6 months. And something else that we've been able to do is help women who have been trying to achieve pregnancy and who haven't. We say, maybe you haven't been able because of this. Give this a try, and maybe that will help. And to see that, them coming back and say, you know what, that was it. It worked. And it's just, we celebrate all the time, but it is such a beautiful celebration when we are able to help these women. And when they realize, well, you know what, I am damaging my body, or, this is not good for my marriage. So it's such wonderful tools to have.
As you're teaching natural family planning, do you see a lot of aha moments when a couple suddenly, discovers, wow, this is something that we should be doing. It is natural. It is what God wants for us as a couple. Can you tell us any stories like that?
I recently came across a student who was so scared. She was scared. She was diagnosed with PCOS, and she had a form of cancer as well. And she was trying to practice NFP, and she was pregnant when she came into my class, and she is determined to use NFP. Although she has all these medical conditions, we have a team here, and we met with Elizabeth, and she was so helpful to her, she encouraged her. The student was told that she needed to have an abortion. She was about, I want to say, 9 weeks pregnant or so, when she was told by her doctor, you need to have an abortion because you're under treatment for this cancer. And so she was scared. But she was also wanting to live by God's rules. She said, I love God so much, and I want to abide by his rules. And I reached out to the team, and I said, hey, I have this situation, somebody give me something. How can we help her? Luckily, Elizabeth has a lot of knowledge in this and that field. She was so kind to have a group meeting with her and me, and Alejandra was there, and we all learned so much through this testimony. But she is determined. She's determined to have her baby. She's determined to use NFP, and her husband's aware that after the baby is born and the treatment for her cancer begins, there's going to be a large number of months of abstinence. And he says, I don't care. He's like, I love my wife. It's okay. That's not what keeps us together. So to me, that was just such a beautiful love story, and not just a love story, but a story of faith, knowing that she's determined. She could have taken an easy route. She could still take an easy route and say, yeah, I'm not going to do NFP because of my current situation.
Thank you, Daniela Alba, for being our guest on the PeakDay podcast.
Thank you. It's been an honor.